Roll calls on this thing too, isn't it?
It should be. Yeah. And just to, please wait until roll call.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still in.
I left home with a pen. Damn it. Thank you.
It's 5:30.
It is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ready?
Yeah, but the
I think
roll call.
it's gonna roll call and then,
Okay.
right?
Meeting come to order, please. Roll call, press your present button.
There it goes.
Thank you. Staff announcements. Where's Joe? You doing announcements?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I will. Good evening, everybody. Just have a few quick announcements. The first thing is I would like to introduce to you Hamilton Cheatham. She's up there between Lincoln and Aaron. Hamilton is our new planning technician. We're really happy to have her. She's a great new addition to our team. She comes to us directly from Florida State University, where she got her undergraduate degree, and she will be pursuing her master's degree online while she's working here with us. So we're delighted to have her with us. The second thing I'll mention is that at your February meeting or prior to your February meeting, we're planning some training for you. And so we'll give you more information about that leading up to that. But typically when we do that, we hold those at about 4:30. And so, expect to receive something from us with more details on that. And then finally is just a reminder, I know we're still kind of getting used to the new system, and last month we weren't able to use it. But when you push your button to make a motion, just remember that doesn't make the motion for you. So push the button, you'll be identified, and then you'll still need to verbally make the motion. So just a reminder on that, and that's all I've got.
You done?
Yes, sir.
I have an announcement. I asked Joe to look up how long I'd been on this commission. When I found out it was 38 years, I decided to retire. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I want to continue to serve on the commission. I'm going to let you elect a new chairman at our next meeting. If you'd put that on our agenda.
Yes, sir.
As a line item. I will serve one more month as chairman, and then I'm going to finish out my term as a regular member. I want to thank all of you for electing me for 42 times or however many it's been. It's been my pleasure. We have accomplished more in the last 2 years than I did in the first 36 years, frankly, in terms of what we've done for the county and some of the things we have passed, and it's been great. And I appreciate it. I appreciate your support, and I'll be here with you as long as good Lord lets me stay here. Thank you. Consideration of the minutes. A motion. Motion made and seconded. Prepare to vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Consent agenda. Mike, is that you?
It is, but as of a few meetings ago, we're no longer reading those into the record. If anyone wants to pull an item for separate discussion, they can do so. Otherwise, I would ask that you make a motion on the consent agenda as a whole.
Thank you. Motion. Motion made and seconded. Prepare to vote. Motion carries. Thank you. First agenda items 7, Mike, public hearing.
Yes, sir, and I will note that no members of the public signed up for the public hearing. I don't think you need to open the hearing. We just acknowledge in the minutes and in the record that no one signed up. So with that, I'll go ahead and read the staff report. In May of 2021, the Tennessee General Assembly enacted new legislation requiring developers to notify the operator of a natural gas transmission pipeline of the planned development whenever a proposed development is located within 660 feet of such natural gas transmission pipeline. This text amendment codifies this requirement into the subdivision regulations. Additionally, this text amendment requires an applicant to state on the proposed development plan that this notification has taken place. Staff recommends approval of the proposed amendment.
Motion made and seconded. Prepare to vote.
Has there been a motion?
Yeah, I move we
Yeah.
accept staff's recommendation.
And a second.
Okay.
Record the vote.
Robin.
What's happening?
Okay, we're good. Okay, Robin was still voting.
That motion carries. Thank you. Under old business, Cedar Beach Estates, large lot easement subdivision containing 5 lots on 47.82 acres located off Old Hillsborough Road in the 2nd voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is approximately 48 acres in size and is located off Old Hillsborough Road, approximately
Lincoln,
1/2 mile.
push his mic.
It's off now.
It's not working.
It's not working.
Okay.
Talk loud, Lincoln.
Okay. The subject property is approximately 48 acres in size and is located off Old Hillsborough Road, approximately 1/2 mile southwest of New Highway 96 West. The applicant is requesting approval of a large lot easement subdivision in order to create 5 lots of a new 50-foot ingress-egress utilities easement. The site contains natural resources requiring protection, including steep slopes, a ridge top, slippage soils, and tree canopy. Approximately 53% of the site is under tree canopy. All zoning ordinance requirements, including those regarding the protection of natural resources, have been met. The applicant is proposing individual septic systems for the lots, and the Williamson County Department of Sewage Disposal Management has approved the request. Water will be provided by the HB and TS utility district. Fire hydrants are proposed for the development and are required to be installed prior to submittal of the final plat. The preliminary plat is in order, and staff recommends approval subject to the following. Number 1, a notice of coverage issued by TDEC will be required prior to the signing of the final plat. Number 2, a land disturbance permit must be obtained for the overall development. Number 3, driveway and drainage infrastructure must be complete, consistent with zoning ordinance requirements prior to submittal of the final plat. Number 4, fire hydrants with a minimum flow rate of 500 gallons per minute shall be installed in locations shown on the preliminary plat prior to the submittal of the final plat. Submit approval letter from TDOT for the location of the access easement prior to submittal of the final plat. And number 6, provide a letter from the water provider either stating water lines are installed and functioning, or provide a performance bond amount for water improvements prior to signature and recording of the final plat.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Comments? Yes, ma'am.
So I noticed this site and the next one on our agenda are adjacent to each other, but is it correct we're reviewing them separately because they have 2 different access points? Or can you help me understand why they're separate and not
Yes,
one?
They're on the same site, but they're large lot easement subdivisions, and large lot easement subdivisions only allow you to create up to 5 lots off a single easement. So each easement requires a separate plat. So that's why we're doing 2 separate plats.
And do we require a distance between those two
Yes.
access points?
The easements are required to be separated continuously 200 feet, the whole whole distance.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, prepare to vote. Vote now. Motion carries, thank you. Agenda item 9, Bear Creek Trail, large lot easement subdivision containing 5 lots on 41.27 acres located off Old Hillsborough Road in the 2nd voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is approximately 41 acres in size and is located off Old Hillsborough Road, approximately 1/2 mile southwest of New Highway 96 West. The applicant is requesting approval of a large lot easement subdivision in order to create 5 lots off a new 50-foot ingress-egress utilities easement. The site contains natural resources requiring protection, including steep slopes, slippage soils, a wetland, and tree canopy. Approximately 14% of the site is under tree canopy. All zoning ordinance requirements, including those regarding the protection of natural resources, have been met. The applicant is proposing individual septic systems for the lots, and the Williamson County Department of Sewage Disposal Management has approved the request. Water will be provided by the HB and TS utility district. Fire hydrants are proposed for the development and are required to be installed prior to submittal of the final plat. The preliminary plat is in order, and staff recommends approval subject to the following. Number 1, notice of coverage issued by TDEC will be required prior to the signing of the plat. Number 2, land disturbance permit must be obtained for the overall development. Number 3, driveway and drainage infrastructure must be complete, consistent with zoning ordinance requirements prior to submittal of the final plat. Number 4, fire hydrants with a minimum flow rate of 500 gallons per minute shall be installed in the location shown on the preliminary plat prior to submittal of the final plat. Number 5, submit approval letter from TDOT for the location of the access easement prior to submittal of the final plat. And number 6, provide a letter from the water provider, either stating the water lines are installed and functioning, or provide a performance bond amount for water improvement prior to signature and recording of the final plat.
Thank you, sir. Questions of staff? Comments?
Move we accept staff's recommendation.
We have a motion and a second, prepare to vote. Vote now. Motion carries. To item 10, non-residential site plan review revised for Arrington Vineyards, Barrel House Edition on 59.94 acres located off Patton Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is requesting approval of a revised site plan for Arrington Vineyard for the Barrel House Addition totaling 5,000 square feet. A revised site plan for this use was approved in March of 2021. Property in question is approximately 60 acres in size and is located on Patton Road. Adjoining parcels range in size from approximately 5.5 acres to approximately 60 acres and are used for agricultural or residential purposes. Water service is provided by Millcrofton Utility District, and wastewater is handled by a non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. Staff has received confirmation the wastewater system can accommodate the proposed use. All zoning ordinance requirements have been met, including the specific requirements associated with farm wineries. Site plan is in order, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you, sir. Questions of staff? Comments? Motion? We have a motion and a second. Prepare to vote. Vote now. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 11, non-residential site plan review for Noblesville Catholic Campus on 168 acres located off of Noblesville Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is requesting approval of phases 1, 2, and 3 of a church and school campus that will consist of multiple buildings totaling approximately 185,600 square feet. Phase 1 consists of the elementary school. Phase 2 consists of the church and associated buildings. Phase 3 consists of the middle school and concessions for the practice field. A conceptual layout for the entire property showing the 4 phases of the development has been included as sheet C 1.01 of the site plan packet. Phase 4 consists of the high school and associated sports field, which will be built at a later date and will require submission of a revised site plan. The conceptual layout is provided for illustrative purposes only, and that which is labeled as future development, i.e. Phase 4, has not yet been reviewed for compliance with applicable regulations. Property in question is located on Nolensville Road, approximately 0.4 of a mile south of its intersection with Big Oak Lane. Adjoining properties range in size from approximately 0.64 acres to 275 acres and are used for either residential or agricultural purposes. The enclave at Dove Lake Development is to the north of the property in question. Water services provided by Nolensville College Grove Utility District. Wastewater generated by the use will be treated by a non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. The county's wastewater consultant has reviewed the proposed system and is recommending approval. The proposed non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system, which will utilize recirculating media filter technology to treat wastewater generated by the proposed church and school, is located on the north side of the site. All individual system components meet the specific setback requirements of the zoning ordinance. The combination of distance and proposed vegetation will serve to adequately screen the treatment system from adjacent properties. The wastewater system will be owned and operated by Tennessee Wastewater Systems, Inc. According to the site plan, there will be 2 access points to the site. The Tennessee Department of Transportation has reviewed and granted conceptual approval of the locations of the access points. The county's traffic consultant has reviewed the traffic impact study submitted by the applicant and has recommended approval from a traffic standpoint contingent upon the applicant making a number of roadway improvements. Various roadway improvements associated with various phases include constructing a southbound and northbound turn lanes at the southern site access point, installing flashing warning beacons, using a school patrol to coordinate the AM and PM school peak traffic operations, and grading and clearing obstructions such as existing trees and brush to improve site distance. All zoning ordinance requirements have been met, including the specific requirements associated with religious institutions and educational facilities. The submitted landscaping has been reviewed and approved by staff. Site plan is in order, and staff recommends approval subject to the following. Number 1, all recommendations specified in the attached letter from the county's traffic consultant must be in place prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for buildings within the corresponding phase of the project. Number 2, prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy for buildings associated with Phase 1, a zoning certificate must be obtained for the completed non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. Prior to the issuance of the zoning certificate, the applicant shall provide the following. A letter from TDEC indicating that the non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system was installed and is functioning. B, a letter from the owner/utility provider indicating that it has accepted said system and is currently operating sane. C, as-built drawing showing the location of all system components and a sealed certification letter from the design engineer stating that the system was constructed in accordance with the approved construction plans and specifications. D, posting of a performance bond for the treatment and disposal system in the amount of $211,600, and E, execution of performance agreements for the above referenced surety. Number 3, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. Number 4, submittal to and approval by the county engineer for stormwater calculations and the grading and drainage plan prior to issuance of a land disturbance permit. Number 5, platting and recording of the wastewater lots prior to the issuance of building permits. Number 6, establishment of a performance bond for landscaping improvements in the amount of $200,000. And number 7, all signage must be approved per ordinance requirements.
Thank you, sir. Questions of staff? Comments? Yes, ma'am.
The staff recommends approval subject to the county's traffic consultant letter. And I have questions on that letter, so I was hoping KCI could help answer those.
And while he's coming up, Commissioners, I was going to interject.
Perfect.
Anyway, just to indicate, and Tyler with KCI can elaborate, but in speaking with him earlier, I believe that there's some information that KCI requested of the applicant that has not yet been received, and he'll elaborate on that, but you may want to consider deferring the item till next month so that we can get that information, but we'll turn it over to Tyler for the explanation.
Yeah, hi, I'm Tyler Fosness. I'm engineer at KCI Technologies. We did the review. Basically, we asked for some additional analysis to provide justification for no improvements being made at Nolensville Road and Osborne Road, and then also at Highway 96 and Nolensville Road. I understand they expressed some reasoning for why, as far as right-of-way and that kind of thing, is why they can't provide improvements at these intersections, but we were just hoping for some additional analysis that shows basically their development-generated traffic won't be really the cause of the issue. It's more so existing traffic, background traffic growth. And so I was requesting 2 pieces of additional analysis to try to get more justification on those, and as far as I know, we haven't heard back from the applicant on that.
Yeah, that helps, because those were the 2 I was wondering about from your write-up. I mean, for 96 and Nolensville, how it says at year 2023, which is next year, it would be at level of service F, AM weekday. I was like, oh, that's not good, because they just completed improvements to that intersection, TDOT did, so.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know if it's appropriate at this time or to wait if there's other questions, but otherwise I would move for a deferral until we have more information on the answers to these issues.
You can make that motion. You have a second? Motion and a second. Prepare to vote.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, is it a deferral to next month? I didn't hear what.
Each time as we have answers, whatever would be appropriate. Should we just say next month, assuming they'll have answers?
No,
to this, or-
I don't think you should do that.
Okay,
Until you have answers,
okay.
we won't have to continue to defer it that way. Is that okay?
No, that's not okay. Because we have the whole 60-day site plan consideration thing, so it would be better if we go ahead and just defer it to next month, and then if for some reason it's not sufficient to put on the agenda, then we should go back to the applicant to talk about perhaps withdrawing it. But let's keep it active on the next agenda so we don't get one of
That's
those
fine.
accidental approvals.
So I move to defer 1 month.
Is there a second? You got beat by Rhonda Rose. All right, prepare to vote. Vote now. Well, somebody's not in there. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 12, under non-residential site plans, the homes at Mulberry Meadows Subdivision, non-traditional wastewater system on 198.4 acres, located off of Teleferro Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is requesting site plan approval for a proposed non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system in the Rural Preservation 5 zoning district. The proposed system will serve a subdivision that is planned for the property. County zoning ordinance requires a site plan for a proposed non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system to be approved before the concept plan for the development can be reviewed. In order to allow additional time to address staff's comments, the applicant has requested deferral until the February 2022 meeting. Staff concurs with this request.
Motion to defer.
So moved.
Motion and a second, prepare to vote. Vote now. Motion carries, thank you. Agenda item 13 on the preliminary plats. Preliminary plat review for Gray Barn Farms, large lot easement subdivision containing 5 lots on 119.92 acres located off of Canard Springs Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is approximately 120 acres in size and is located at the end of Canard Springs Road, approximately 1 mile southeast of Carter's Creek Pike. The applicant is requesting approval of a large lot easement subdivision in order to create 5 lots off a new 50-foot ingress-egress utilities easement. At this time, the applicant is requesting deferral to the March 2022 Planning Commission meeting to allow the applicant more time to address staff comments.
Motion. Motion made and seconded.
Robin wants to comment.
Robin?
I have a question about the deferral, because we were just talking about the 60-day deferral. So if we defer 60 days, we have to make a decision then on this, correct?
Christie?
Okay. It depends, it's only if you defer it without the applicant's consent. So if they're
Okay.
requesting it, we can go beyond the 60 days.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Prepare to vote. Vote now. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 14, preliminary plat review for Paytonsville Estates, large lot easement subdivision containing 4 lots on 34.57 acres located off Paytonsville Arno Road in the 2nd voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject parcel is approximately 35 acres in size and is located off Paytonsville Arno Road, approximately 3/4 of a mile east of Cool Springs Road. The applicant is requesting approval of a large lot easement subdivision in order to create 4 lots off an extended 50-foot ingress-egress utilities easement and 1 lot on Paytonsville Arno Road. In order to allow more time to meet all county requirements, the applicant has requested deferral to the February 2022 meeting. Staff concurs with this request.
Motion and a second to defer. Prepare to vote. Vote now. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 15, preliminary plat review for Reed's Vale Phase 1 containing 60 lots on 97.68 acres located off of Lampkins Bridge Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A concept plan for this development was reviewed by this body at the November 2020 meeting. The concept plan was ultimately approved by court order on June 14, 2021, and confirmed by the Planning Commission at its September 9, 2021 meeting. The applicant is requesting preliminary plat approval for the first phase of the development, which contains 60 lots, approximately 41 acres of open space, and the wastewater treatment and disposal system. The plat is consistent in layout with the approved concept plan. Staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat with the following conditions, which must be addressed in conjunction with final plat submittal. Number 1, prior to final plat submittal for the first section of the development, off-site roadway improvements, i.e. the deceleration lanes at both entrances of the development, must be completed to the satisfaction of the county highway superintendent. Number 2, prior to final plat submittal for the first section of the proposed subdivision, a zoning certificate must be obtained for the completed wastewater treatment and disposal system. Prior to the issuance of the zoning certificate, the applicant shall provide the following. A letter from TDEC indicating that the non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system was installed and is functioning. B, as-built drawings showing the location of all system components and a sealed certification letter from the design engineer indicating that said system was constructed in accordance with the approved construction plans and specifications. C, a letter from the owner/utility provider indicating that it has accepted said system and is currently operating same. D, posting of a performance bond in the amount of $500 for the treatment and disposal system as specified by the county's wastewater consultant. E, posting of a performance bond in the amount of $29,100 for the landscaping improvements as it relates to the referenced non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. And And F, execution of performance agreements for the above referenced sureties as they relate to the non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. Number 3, no more than 63 lots may receive final plat approval per year beginning on the date of concept plan approval, which is June 10th, 2021. This number may be adjusted based on changes to TDOT's projected completion schedule for the widening of Highway 96. Number 4, prior to consideration of final plat approval, the applicant shall submit HOA documents for review and approval by the county attorney's office. The HOA documents must be submitted with the final plat, and the approved HOA documents must be recorded concurrently with the recording of the final plat. Number 5, establishment of a performance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control. Number 6, establishment of a performance bond for wastewater improvements in favor of Mill Crofton Utility District. Number 7, establishment of a performance bond for the wastewater collection system. Number 8, submission of landscaping plans and establishment of a performance bond for landscaping. Number 9, execution of a performance agreements for the above referenced sureties. Number 10, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And number 11, submission of the approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Thank you, sir. Questions of staff?
Chairman, I had a couple questions. I had 3 topics, 3 questions. One is the 300-foot buffer along Lampkins Bridge. Looks like I've asked Mr. Madison about it before the meeting. Maybe it's labeled incorrectly on the plan, and I just wanted confirmation that there's 50 feet of right-of-way and then 300 feet of buffer.
Commissioner, that's correct. There's the 50 feet of right-of-way and then the 300-foot buffer from the edge of the right-of-way to the back of the first lots.
Perfect. The second thing was the one of the cul-de-sacs, I think it's Ellaby Court, is labeled as temporary. And I'm thinking maybe at the time it was laid out, that was when we might have anticipated that other adjacent land would be developed in a similar manner, but with the new zoning, that seems unlikely. And I'm just wondering if that should not be a temporary cul-de-sac and maybe match up more with the other cul-de-sac they're showing?
Commissioner, we can discuss that with the engineer at final plat approval and have that removed if that is the consensus.
Okay. And then the third thing was just back in the letter from KCI when we reviewed this in November 2020, they talk about site distance and that the site distance at the site access had not been evaluated and that needed to be done. So I was just hoping maybe we could add that as a condition in here somehow that they verify the site distance at this access point.
We can certainly add that as a condition. It would need to be in the motion.
I would suggest, my assumption is that probably was confirmed prior to a concept plan, but Mr. Fosness has left already. So perhaps it would be appropriate to add a condition that be verified prior to issuance of a land disturbance permit.
Do we have a motion? Beth?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of affirm the discussion about the cul-de-sac marking. The other hat I'm wearing right now is, as county commissioner, we're having a lot of issues with unincorporated neighborhoods in the county, and then municipal government, like town of Nolensville, when a higher density development's wanting to come in, they're wanting to connect that development through a cul-de-sac of an established neighborhood. So thankfully, that has to be approved by our highway commission. I don't serve on that body. We have a wonderful county mayor who is the chairman of the highway commission. But just from the planning perspective, I would be in favor of that plan being modified just to not temporary cul-de-sac. And I think that when people invest the money that they are in their homes, they have to understand if it's showing a cul-de-sac, that's going to be protected, and there's not going to be an entity, whether that, in the future, that's going to try to cut through that portion. So Mike, you had mentioned that we could do that. Do we have to specify, or we can just have a discussion with the applicant?
Well, so I guess in response to that comment, I'll say a few things. First is that from a planning standpoint, oftentimes connections make a lot of sense.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
for not only just connectivity, but for safety reasons as developments build out. Typically, what we do is we look at the feasibility of development on an adjoining parcel. And I think that Commissioner Lucian probably is right, that maybe that was identified as a potential connection point prior to the zoning changing to 1 unit per 5 acres. So it doesn't always make sense, and as Mr. Holmes said, I think it's appropriate for staff to get with the applicant between now and when they submit a final plat and, you know, look at the feasibility of that, and it may just be that that's pulled back. I don't think the applicant was really pushing for that connection,
Okay.
and so we hear what you're saying, and we can address that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Other comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am?
I just want to note, the staff report, it says the court order date in 2 different dates. On the front page, it says June 14th, 2021, and on the back page, it's June 10th. I just want to confirm it's June 10th, 2021, and that date's important because that's the calendar date we start measuring the number of lots. So it is, in fact, June 10th, 2021. Thank you. No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a typo. Great.
Other comments? Motion?
Recommendation and add the condition for confirmation of the site distance.
That it?
That's it.
I thought you had 3 things. I'm sorry. All right, prepare to vote. We have a motion and a second. Motion carries. Thank you. That concludes our agenda for this evening. Thank you all.
Mr. Chairman, I just, real quickly before we leave, I just wanted to remind commission members that your statement of disclosure that you do every year is due to the state by January 31st. Thank you.